Hi, Rohan. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi Bala, thank you so much, for having me. Looking forward on, chatting with you actually.
Great. Thanks for joining from Hamburg in the middle of a tournament. The German Open started this Monday. How's it going so far?
Yeah, going, pretty good. Getting a chance to play with the Indian partner since Olympics is coming up. So it's always nice, when you get a partner from your own country, something different. And, Balaji has been someone who's doing really well, trying to break into the top 50 and, play at the big events regularly. And, we have a good team with the coach Balachandran and my our physio Rebecca as well. So it's nice to have a good atmosphere and get some practices in before we start tomorrow.
Oh, that's great. 2024 has been quite an incredible year for you, hasn't it? Started off with Australian Open, Miami, number one ranking as well. And it has been an incredible journey, lots of ups and downs, but it's the longevity in tennis that has been quite remarkable. How do you see this year, since Jan 1st to now? How do you feel about this?
Definitely one of my best years, Bala. I mean, not only from January, but with the past 12, 18 months, has been really consistent in terms of doing well in the major events. I don't think in my entire career there's been a stretch where apart from this Wimbledon, making semis of all the Grand Slams in in 12-month period, and I think that has been really something both Ebden and me have been working on in trying and doing well in these bigger events. We've been pushing hard on the Masters series. So that is what actually has helped us build that confidence as a team. And also, I think our mindsets are very positive when we come on the court. Doesn't matter who we are playing against. I think we really believe that we genuinely have a shot to not only win that match, but also win the tournaments every time we are competing.
Yeah, and this is not just an achievement for you as an individual, but also for India, because we would not be going to the Paris Olympics if you were not in the top 10. So that itself is fantastic news for India.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I think I feel proud that I was able to get back to the top 10. I know in 2016 it happened the same way. That we qualified. Me being there in the top 10, and um, at least we're thankful that rule is there. So at least it's up to you how you're going to manage it, how you're going to try and push and get back to that top ranking, and I'm glad I was able to do that. And yes, of course, today we have doubles team and a singles player going to Paris Olympics.
yeah, fantastic. We will come back to uh, tennis in detail a little later. But tell me a little bit about your childhood. There is something about Coorg that keeps producing top talent, be it hockey, be it cricket, Robin Uthappa, and tennis yourself. So tell me a little bit about what has it to do with the culture in Coorg, or is it something to do with the upbringing that produces great talent?
I would say both the culture, the upbringing. There is a lot of encouragement, not only from parents, grandparents, for kids to play sport. And they themselves, as whether it's my parents, all these guys who are there, their parents somewhere have been involved in sport, and so I feel that really makes a difference. From especially having so many, people coming from Cook. Even Ayush, who you've been talking to, plays a lot of basketball. He's from Kurg. So yes, I think it's a natural thing, in a household in Kurg to encourage sport, to support them in that sporting journey. and also I think from a young age, whatever nutritionist tells us today at home, they follow that straight away. Yeah, I think our mothers somewhere are inbuilt nutritionists, I would say, to making sure we're eating the right kind of food and guiding us in that direction. And I think that has boosted the entire community to really do well in sport, and hence we've had so many athletes come out of Coorg in various different sports, and doing well at the highest caliber.
Yeah, and how did you take up tennis in the first place? Because tennis is more of a metropolitan sport. We have had legends from places like Chennai and Kolkata. But what prompted you, or what attracted you to tennis?
Uh, of course, it starts off with at home parents loving that sport. My dad really loved watching tennis. He told me that in college he used to when he was studying in Madras Christian College, there was a tennis court. He used to watch a few people play. He tried to play a little bit, and then he taught himself the sport. He was reading through a book, and taught himself a lot of the strokes just by reading one of those tennis books. Back then there was just one continental handshake grip for tennis. So even when he taught me tennis, whether it was serve, forehand, backhand, volley, it was one grip. Because there was the book he was reading back then had no other grip options. He said this was the one conventional grip, and also when after he got married, I taught my mom tennis as well. So in Coorg, next to our house, we had a couple of tennis courts, and a tennis club there where my grandfather had donated some land, and few of the members who are currently of this club called Madhapur Club. They built this tennis court, taught each other tennis, taught their families tennis. So it's a nice small country club where they encourage every kid who came there. Even till today, they want them to play sport, especially tennis being the main sport in that club. Everybody wants them to pick up tennis. So that's how I think my tennis love started. Just by going to the that club every day, watching the members play, being a ball kid. The chance of getting on the tennis court was only right in the end, maybe about 10-15 minutes after the members played. Kids never really had a priority, but I think that is where the actual love for the sport started. And over the years, my dad saw that interest. He saw how much I appreciated playing tennis. So then he started taking me early mornings before school as well. But back then, when my tennis journey was started, it's not like there was any specific way to learn how to move in the sport. Nobody was teaching me tennis specific movements. Again, that book, what my dad was read was run in the morning, build your stamina. So every morning I used to run 5-6 kilometers, come back, play tennis, and then go to school, come back in the evening. And there was like a homemade gym. I had a log of wood and a hammer, and I kept hitting that. And there was a rope which was tied up to two poles where I was doing some rope climbing. That was my gym activity every day, because even till today there is no gym in the vicinity. Yeah, so it was very different. And obviously back then it was not like we just had internet that we could just look at videos and follow it up and do anything. So we just went with that day in, day out. And yeah, that was just kind of my growing up till about the age of 14, before I finally moved to Pune to pursue tennis. Yeah, but up till then, I was there in Coorg, and living the coffee estate life, and playing tennis every day.
Oh, that's fantastic. And once you moved to Pune, did you have a professional coach? Did they have to work on your technique a whole lot? because you might be just a raw talent moving into Pune.
Yeah, absolutely, Bala. There was a lot of work to be done. I went to a few other academies before going to Pune where they were only taking students on scholarship. Unfortunately, they said that I was not good enough to get into these academies. I, at that point in time, really wished the academy was still open for someone to join, not just selected group of players, because that's when you can get better in order to get these opportunity to play against these scholarship students maybe, or get to train with better coaches. Pune was something like that, where they had the scholarship program, but unfortunately, once there also they said there's no scholarship can be added, but then you can come into the program, join the program, pay for it, and join there. And when I went there, there were three coaches: Nandan Bal, Balachandran, and Narendranath. I mean, that is back in 1994. I'm saying, and today Balachandran is traveling to Paris Olympics as one of the coaches. So it's amazing that how the circle of life comes around. But yeah, I mean, that was a team which was there, and there was a fitness trainer called Mahindra Gokhale. But again, when I went into that center, yes, what really did help is there were a lot more players to play with. That made a huge difference in order to slowly start getting better. I was playing with better players, so I was improving gradually. And like you mentioned, yeah, I was raw as a player. It was not even a raw talent. I was just raw as a player. I'd played a lot of hours, but I hadn't really played any matches as such. So I was very raw in terms of match practices, or just competing in tournaments. And I think that where I slowly started building up in Pune. I lived there for 5 years. When we went there, my dad got me a bicycle, and he said this was your mode of transport from the hostel I was staying. So every day, about 15, 16 kilometers, I would travel. I mean, just to go to fitness in the morning, come back for tennis, go again in for tennis in the evening, come back. So it was that was my normal routine till almost yeah, when I was the age of 18, 19, when I finally told my dad I need a motorcycle. I had enough of the bicycle. Yeah, but it was that was just the regular day to day training there. We did the fitness, we did the tennis, and again going to the gym. There was no really trainer as such who was there, who helped you go to the gym. The coaches or the trainers just said, "Okay, go to the gym and do your gym workout." But there was no like tennis related. Okay, this is what I need for this kind of training, because again back then it was not easy access to anybody to reach out, or online like it is today, to get to know what it is. So whatever the coaches and the fitness trainers knew back then, I think taught us. And it was just a nice group of kids who were training together. The atmosphere was great. I made a lot of friends who I'm still very much in touch with. That's a beautiful thing. And get to meet. I mean, at least I was getting to meet them when the ATP was in Pune for the last 5 years. Yeah, but it was incredible actually.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I have read stories about ex-cricketers talking about how their routine and training was like for example, Kapil Dev used to just run. I mean, that's the best thing he knew, and I'm pretty sure that was the similar case with tennis as well. Uh,
But tennis being so much more uh, in terms of movement related, right? Movement related. It wasn't like how whether I was just running in one direction. They had so many different kind of movements that I really wish somebody had taught me when I was young. I think it would have really made a difference.
Yeah, and compared to a team sport versus an individual sport, just drawing parallels to cricket, because that's one of the games that we follow, is that we have A tours, we have under 19s where the cricketers do get exposure to and playing with international teams. They probably tour South Africa, etc. But till the age of 19, did you get a chance to explore what the standard was outside India, or did that sort of limit your strengths as a player?
Actually, I did travel quite a bit. I did go to a lot of tournaments, and when we are like when you're saying comparing to a couple of sports, the difference here was that I spending on myself, right? So you need to spend on yourself in order to get that experience. For example, it's very difficult for anyone, right, to constantly be able to, because the results are not happening. Or if you're trying, it's like starting your own company, right? You put in that capital, you wanted to start doing well as soon as possible, which unlike in tennis, it doesn't happen. So, if you're looking at a team sport or comparing cricket, for example, when you get into a team, you already have great coaches, great trainers there to help you and guide you. Here, you don't have that. You are still traveling by yourself, but you don't have a coach, you don't have a trainer because already the travel is that much expensive. You can't afford another coach. So that makes it that much harder. Yes, you are getting experience in order to see what is out there, but if you play a match or you're doing a practice, there's no one really to guide you on whether you did something right or whether you can do something different in your matches. So that you are your kind of your own coach, trying to learn, and unlearn few things and try and build on that. And that I think is the most difficult aspect. Apart from of course, it being super expensive, but also trying to learn and unlearn, new areas of your own game in order to get better.
Yeah, I was actually watching a video of an American tennis player called Noah Rubin. He has actually started a movement called Behind the Racket, and in that video, I saw how only like the top 10% of tennis players are able to afford or even break even their travel expenses, and the money that they pay the coach. Uh, is that a part of locker room discussions at all? How skewed the prize money differences is between Grand Slam events and other ATP events? Does that bother you at all?
Well, definitely there is a significant gap. There is no question. I think there's a lot more which can be done in order to help a lot of the players who are coming up also get, a significant amount of earning. It does make a difference. Right now, the percentage from the tournament to the players is extremely different. I think and also the split between the singles and doubles is even more tougher. I think as a doubles player, you're only making about 7% of that entire prize money. Which is extremely less. Because it may be 14%, but you're also splitting up with your partner, right? So you're making only 7%, and then plus you're paying taxes on whichever country you're earning that money in also, and then only getting that prize money. So, for example, if I'm in California, I'm paying a 36% of tax before out of that 7% you pay 36%, and then you're getting that prize money back, which is so you need to in that prize money manage your coach's expense, your physio's expense, your travel expense. So there is a significant amount of expense you have, even though you're still playing at the highest level. So, in terms of when you are playing at the challenger and you're trying to come up, the expenses remain the same because it's not like you can tell a airline saying that, okay, I'm playing a future or challenger. Can you give me a discount on the airline ticket? The price remains the same whether you know which tournament you're going to, for anyone out there, whether it's a regular person traveling on that route, or somebody going for the sport. And also coming, I feel, from India, the initial and the toughest part were getting visas. Yeah, today, thankfully, we're having a Schengen visa, so we can travel all over Europe. Back then, when I was traveling, and there were no embassies even in Bangalore. I mean, I came from Bangalore. Every time I used to go to Bombay, stay overnight, go to a embassy, apply for a visa, then go to a next country, apply for a visa, and then plan the calendar around that, saying that, oh, I have two European countries now I can go to. What are my tournaments? And go and then come back, forced to come back, because you can't stay, or even if you wanted to do something differently. So that makes it that much more difficult. I think playing tennis became the easiest part, because there were so many other variables around the sport, that hence today I feel there's a lot of motivation goes away, because there's so many things, apart from, of course, you are spending day in day out of these expenses, and also the resources, right? I mean, what you have in India compared to when I came to Europe, or I went to the US back in 1992. When I was 12 years old, my dad and mom took me to Nick Bolletry Tennis Academy in Florida, and it felt like a theme park for me. I'd never seen a place with 50 tennis courts. Forget even seeing a place with maybe five tennis courts, right? And that kind of facility, that kind of training, it was unheard of. And to see something like this exists. And then after a month, we had to come back because it was just too expensive, and I would have loved to have stayed there, because that was just truly magical. It's like a kid going to that Disneyland or something. I mean, you want to be there forever. It was absolutely amazing to see that kind of facility. And now you're coming from a country which is competing against these players from rest of the world who having these facilities, and I'm coming from a place where we don't have any facility and still trying to make it. That I think was the hard part.
Ye-
And even in India itself, you're traveling quite a distance, right? I mean, it's not like when I talked to my physio, she's from Belgium, how easy it is to just take a train, go to another country, go home if you have 2 days rest. I mean, every time we came to, or I'm still now here in from London, and I was coming to Hamburg, even though I had 5 days in between, I would love to have gone home. But again, to go back to India, then come to Hamburg, you're thinking two, three times. But if I lived right there, in Europe, I just take a train, or so those things are, I think, makes it that much more harder, much more difficult. And when I talk to players from the West, these are few things which do make a huge difference.
Yeah, you spoke at length about the difficulties being a top-ranked tennis player from India. The visa issues, etc. I want to know what being on a tour is like. Like, does it? Is there an off season at all? And are you just traveling from one country to the other? And do you get to come back to India in the middle of it all? Like, what, tell me a little bit about what being on tour is like.
Uh, the amazing thing is you get to travel the world,
Hmm.
first and foremost. That you get to see beautiful cities. Tennis tour goes to some great cities. I think that is an amazing thing. I've made so many friends over the years that I could go to about 50 countries, and I don't even have to meet that person, but all I do is text him, ask him where I can go, and what are the best places to visit in that country, which is a beautiful thing to have. And the other part is just making so many friends across the world. That is, I think, brilliant. The travel has taught me so many great things, also on how to find solutions right away. I think tennis already teaches you that, and then travel, or more so, in terms of, I got to try various different cuisines. And yes, there is no kind of off season. There is no work from home option. So these two things, I think, we've gotten used to. And the other beautiful thing is there is always a routine. there's always a routine. We know what's happening. If, if it's a match day, if your practice day, it's already scheduled the previous evening. We exactly know how the day is going to plan around. So yes, it may come out just the previous evening and can be late at times, but still the following day I still know what how it is. And there's some amazing people I've met over the years. And this, and also having this kind of a ranking system, you have to kind of play these major events, major to maintain that ranking, because there are 19 tournaments which count for your ranking. I mean, you could play even five and maintain that ranking if you want to, and take the rest of the season off. But also, I think I would have definitely come back home more often if I had a home in Europe or in US. It is just having to come back to India all the time sometimes is difficult, with the time zone, the distance, the travel expense. It does take a toll. So I feel. Now, as I'm getting older, since I'm planning a less kind of tournaments, I do get to spend a little more time at home. And of course, for my wife and I, having our 5-year-old daughter Trida there, makes it much more happy to be back home, spending time with them. And before, my wife was traveling with me, so it kind of made it easier. I didn't really have to always go back home. Now, since our daughter started school, she can't really take off that much, so I look forward to going home as much as possible.
That's fantastic. Some of the next generation players like Sumit is training in outside India. Was that ever uh, something that you thought of, like probably going to Nensel where Sumit Nagal is training, or did you always wanted to work on your craft in India?
I
And I'm
always
talking.
wanted to have a base in Europe, Bala. I always wanted to, but it was just impossible to afford it. So there was never a question of even having a base there. It was I would have loved to have done that, because majority of my tournaments were in Europe, but it was just too expensive to have a base back then. So the only option was to come back to India.
Mm. Uh, 2024 has been a great year for you, and you had an amazing year in 2017 as well. The 2017 French Open mixed doubles with Gabriela Dabrowski. You play mixed doubles and doubles, and I'm really curious to know, how does one go about finding the right partner for a tournament?
I mean, men's doubles, there's a lot more thought which goes into it compared to mixed doubles, because mixed doubles, we play only 4 tournaments in a year. So men's doubles, of course, we're playing about 25, 27, tournaments in the year. So you're really looking at trying to find a partner which matches your skill, find the right balance, from your strengths to your weaknesses, and where that can be covered at, in terms of mixed doubles. It's very tough to find a partner that you can prepare tournaments, really well with, because maximum like I said, we are playing only these grand slams, so you don't really play even a practice match. I think you just kind of practice with each other and then really go into the tournament, and hope to do well. And then I think when somebody does well, they try and see if they can play similar tournaments. But also when you're trying that, your not only your ranking but her ranking also need to be pretty high in order to combine and get into these tournaments. If one of y'all don't do well, automatically the other person is looking for some other partner, or in terms of, sometimes you want to play with a partner who you can get seeded with as well. So, so all those variables are there in compared to, mixed and, men's doubles. Men's doubles, you can really work on your game with your partner, even on those days of those practice matches. And, but unfortunately in mixed, it doesn't happen. You just, go with the flow and hope for the best. And yeah, 2017 was an incredible, week, for Dabrowski and me to have won that Grand Slam at Roland Garros. We were down a few matches and down match point also in the final, and sometimes it goes your way and sometimes it doesn't. And I remember in Australian Open we had match points and lost, and I was playing with Timia Babos, and this one we had match point, we were down match points and we won. So it is one of those things which it's tough to really plan, compared to men's doubles, the way you want to play mixed doubles. But the one thing which remains the same is that you play all out. Doesn't matter, who you playing against, whether it's a men's doubles or mixed doubles. You're playing all out. You're going to going after your shots, going after your serves, and that is what I think helps you maybe try and do well in these tournaments.
Hmm. Does it make a big difference if your partner is a left-handed versus a right-hander? Because you have partnered with Dennis as well.
Yeah, there are pros and cons. I think for both. When I was playing with Denis Shapovalov, though he was left-handed and I was right-handed, he played on the right side of the court. I played on the left side of the court. The advantage with that is that the middle ball, both of us can hit a forehand every time the ball in the middle comes. So that is one of the reasons of choosing those kind of sides. And of course, the spins, the movement is very different in terms of someone crossing in the net. Makes it definitely harder when you play a lefty righty combination. One of those teams were the Bryant twins we played constantly against, because you don't really kind of really get a rhythm on a serve. There's always different spins you're dealing with, and apart from the other variables of sun, wind, etc., there's the spins also. So I think it definitely makes it harder to play a lefty righty combination than whether you're playing two left-handers or two right-handers.
Hmm. Yeah, that reminds me of that Indian Wells match that you guys played. How do you guys get along with the umpires? I'm super curious to know.
Actually, we get along pretty well with them, most of them, because they're also kind of traveling to similar tournaments. So we see them week in, week out. And then plus now, for me being on the tour 20 plus years, I've seen a lot of them across, the journey. And they've also had similar kind of lifestyles, living out of a suitcase, living in hotel rooms, traveling week in, week out. So yeah, there are so many of the referees now, or majority of the referees I do know personally. And I mean, they're also, part of the same tour we are all going and earning from, I would say. So yeah, so it's nice to have a chat after that sometimes when certain things happen on the court, whether the situation is heated or sometimes you get a bad call. But it's nice when you do communicate and also express it talk it out outside the court. And I think that builds a good rapport with the referees also.
Hmm. Well, we spoke about your journey with Grand Slams and doubles and mixed doubles tournaments across the world. Now, coming to Indian tennis, how do you see the state of Indian tennis right now? The kind of talent coming in, and we briefly mentioned about how India lost its only ATP 500, Chennai Open, and then the Maharashtra Open. Um, uh, Tell me a little bit about where you see the talent and the potential moving forward.
I think first of all, what makes it really sad is losing that ATP, Bala. I think after whatever 25, 27 years, having an ATP event, right, helps the country in some way or the other. It helps that journey in order to youngsters to see international tennis players come into the country, watch them live. One of the reasons I say that is because uh, tennis is not even shown in the country, right? It's hardly shown. Maybe just the center court matches. Say, for example, even now I'm playing at Wimbledon. My match is not shown in India. if you look at going back to our conversation in terms of comparing it to maybe cricket or any other sport, or even you being in the US, right? If a sport is not shown on TV, we don't know who they are, or how you would not know so much about an athlete if you're not following them on a regular basis. So I think that is a number one start, for the country. Of course, having losing this tournament, not only now as a kid growing up, that you don't get to know who these top athletes are, and not able to watch the sport makes it even harder. Which I keep constantly telling the all the broadcasters who do show these matches, sometimes air the Indian players who are playing back in India. Because for me, when I'm sitting at home, whichever sport I'm watching, if there's an Indian competing, I'm that much more of interested in watching that sport. It just comes naturally because you are from that country, you want that person to do well, and hence that is the number one start. No matter, because there are Indian players competing around the world. I think this is what we need to do, is in order to firstly just broadcast their matches back in India, so that there is some vision for a kid knowing that, okay, yes, so and so is playing at these events. I also could get there. I also have maybe a chance. The other thing, to the for next following thing I would say, is infrastructure. We just need to build a great grassroots program. There is no structure in place. I think cricket is a beautiful example of how they have structured the entire program, from a junior program to Ranji to under 19 to going up to the national level. That is what we need, and we need many more smaller level tournaments in the country. For if we need to compete against the Europeans or Americans, we need 25, 30 weeks of tournaments in the country. Today we don't have an ATP event at all. We don't have a WTA event in the country. We may have three or four challenges. We need, I would say, minimum one future, one challenger for both the women and men in each state. So that a minimum of that, I feel, and it is absolutely doable. And hence, when you plan maybe even like one or two tournament, the financial support to getting those events are much easier. In order to bring in a big corpus from a corporate or a government to say, we let's just do one event. Of course, yes, you may have that 250 event, but around that 250 you need to have about 25, 30 futures. You need 25, 30 challenges, because hence that makes it a little bit easier for the Indian players to play in the country and earn international points as well. Right now, your starting journey is already, let me take a flight first, right? So that not many can afford that. I don't think today we would have had the top level of athletes in other sports if there was no financial support or no federation support, right? I'm just saying, is how many cricketers or badminton players or hockey players, if there was no support from the federation and you had to do it everything on your own, I wonder how many people would have gone through with that journey,
Mm.
right? So that makes a big difference in order to, when you're playing tennis. So if you can bring in the tournaments to the country, that already helps that journey, helps that time. So I think these are few things which is really needed, and our federation needs this change. It's been said and spoken about for many years, and I really feel we are not doing enough as a federation for the sport. And I think there's a lot more which can be done. Today we have the government which is trying to encourage a lot of sportsmen, and thankfully that has changed, and it's really nice to see that. So I think when we bring in a lot more tournaments into the country, automatically that support will increase, and then we'll have more athletes coming up.
Mm.
Today, whoever have made it, I mean, whether you start from the Mr. Ramanathan Krishnan all the way to Sumit Nagal, or from, back in the day, from whether it is singles, doubles, women, everyone have made it themselves. Nobody has done it through like the federation kind of a journey, support, and kind of a done it that way. So, there's something needs to change. It's only a handful of players who have broken through the system and have done it on themselves.
That is a great point because for badminton, we have the Pulela Gopichandh Academy, and a lot of players have come from that academy. Uh, and I see that there are a lot more takers for a sport like badminton compared to tennis. And, I could be wrong here, but do you think the serve is the greatest sort of gatekeeper that is preventing people from taking up tennis compared to a sport like badminton? Have you ever thought about it?
I have thought about it, but also the Bala there is that everything is funded by the federation there for the sport for them to travel. That is already a huge start. I mean, whether how difficult a sport is, whether you need a different stroke which makes that difference or not. But I think if there was a journey where today all the tennis players have said, okay, federation is going to send these tournament, I will guarantee you will have so many more players.
Hmm.
In terms of badminton as well, if somebody had said you have to do it on your own, that interest will come down a lot, because for a parent to constantly spend that is significantly a lot.
Yeah, I think we speak a lot about the cricketers here in India, but these are some of the things that need to be spoken about, and which is probably why someone like a Vishwanathan Anand or a Prakash Padukone
Yeah.
is have done unbelievable things because they have been world number one in their sport, and they came, they did everything almost on their own. Um,
So I think that is a good point to even to see, that the fact that what they've had and they've brought back to the sport, and today there is a lot of support. I mean, we've also had like the Krishnans, Amritajas, everyone who's doing well. Similarly, if there was genuine support coming from there, we would have constantly had players coming out of the system. I mean, because it's not like we have not had players competing at that level. I mean, Mr. Ramakrishnan made twice semifinals at Wimbledon. So if from that time, at least if he was given that journey in terms of a lot of support, and the federation looking at it up saying, oh, here's a chance for tennis already being there, and supporting it, and after them the Amritraj brothers who did well, Mr. Ramesh Krishnan, who was my first Davis Cup captain, who did really well, Leander, Mahesh, Sania, all of us. I mean, being part of that journey, I feel it's not like there hasn't been a few players. There always has been somebody, but still it has been the same system which is not really growing and not really changed. And this is what I think is taking away a lot of parents, and not motivating them to really be part of that sport in tennis, because it is of course, like any taking up any professional sport is difficult, and it takes a lot of discipline and commitment. And top of that, if you don't have any financial support, it makes it that much harder. No matter how much of a talent you have, right? If you don't have the best coaches or resources for that, there is nothing much you can do.
hmm. Yeah, I recently heard Djokovic speak about how pickleball is taking over, and also heard Bill Gates speak about how pickleball has probably just surpassed tennis, at least in the US. Do you fear for this future of tennis? Where there are other things that people are more interested in.
Recreational, maybe, because I think it is just an easier sport to pick up. There's less movement in terms of court. I think it's easy to learn, and it's fun. It's fun. It's quick, and also when you're playing a lot of doubles, it can be exciting. That is where I really feel doubles also, in tennis can be really marketed differently. I think there is a good product there, which I think can be done a lot more with. Because if you see, 90% of the people who play tennis are someone who play doubles. And when they go and watch, especially in the US, when we come and play these tournaments, and Indian Wells, for example, everyone love to come out there, watch doubles, because I feel they watch doubles, and the next day they can go and try it themselves. And when they go watch singles, they're just in awe of the way the players are moving, where the way they're sliding. They're not trying that on the court. They're not going to go and slide or something. But when they watch doubles, they're actually, I can see them after some shots, doing some shadow actions, showing that, and then they want to go and try it out the following day. And that is, I feel somewhere where the doubles, product has a tremendous, value in terms of as a sport. And similarly, how pickleball is growing so much, in the US. I think, tennis also just needs a good direction of the way it is marketed and put out there, where I really feel it can be as good as anything else.
Hmm. That's fantastic. Now, what are you looking forward the most in Paris 2024? How are the preparations going? And yeah.
No, I think so far we've been having some good practices, good preparations. I think the key is to, for the next 10 days, to really have a good camaraderie, good atmosphere around the partnership, the team, and that is what we're really looking for. I mean, I don't think something like this, where the atmosphere being this nice, this comfortable, has ever been in the journey of tennis. And so that is something I think we are glad that it is today. And next week we'll go to Paris and get a feel of the Olympic village, just to be around it. Yes, of course, it is my third Olympic to compete in, but also for Balaji to just be around the atmosphere, because unlike a Grand Slam where you travel week in, week out, or sometimes even if it's your first Grand Slam, you still kind of know the players. You're still constantly reading about them. And when you go to Olympics, it is the best athletes from the world who are in this village. So after a tennis match or after a practice day, when you come back, you still are surrounded by so many world class athletes, and that is can be overwhelming. So it's nice to go in there, I feel, a few days before, to kind of acclimatize with all the surroundings around you, meet the top athletes from your own country, get, because we are constantly only reading about them, we don't really get to meet them that often. So it's nice to just meet all of them, and then slowly soak in all that atmosphere, and then try and do well at the games. At the biggest thing is, I think if we prepare well, we definitely have every good chance to to do well against any team out there.
Hmm. That's fantastic. Rohan, you have had a extremely long career in tennis. I mean, this level of longevity is not very common. And for someone who has had such a long career, you might have seen a lots of ups and downs. Have you ever felt like, like, let me just quit, and like, I'm done, and then you somehow just bounced back and kept motivating yourself? Roger Federer played till close to 40. Stan is still playing. How do you keep motivating yourself, and have you ever had that self doubt that maybe I should just quit?
Yeah, there have been a lot of ups and downs in that mind, which keeps triggering on and off. I think more so, especially when you're not playing well, there are a lot of negative thoughts which always creeps in somehow. Even though you try to, be positive, do the right thing, but there's always a lot of downtime when you travel on the road. That your mind is idle, And these thoughts can creep in, especially when in 2006 I had a shoulder surgery. I was out for 6 months. That's when it was good to surround myself with the close friends and family, who always encouraged me. I think that kind of helps, because you don't know whether you're going to come back. Especially after an injury. Yeah, being playing a physical sport, we live by the day. We don't know where this journey can take us. But yeah, so back then. Um, I'm thankful that a lot of my close family and friends guided me in the right direction, kept me positive, and those small things do make a difference. After playing for such a long period of time in 2021, I went first 5 months without even winning a match. I mean, that kind of feeling I'd never had in my entire playing career. Even when I started as a junior, I never went 5 months without winning a match.
Hmm.
And that was kind of new. And I felt that, okay, maybe it is time to call it a day. I was 41 years old. I guess this is how it's going to end. I remember chatting to my wife and telling her what I was feeling. And thankfully, she gave me a very positive advice in terms of, yes, if you want to quit, it's your choice, but don't do it when you're down, when you're feeling down. And that was something to really think about. And also I realized when I was expressing my thoughts, right, I mean, just out there, I realized why I had started this journey. And I
Hmm.
had got into this rat race of looking at it. Oh, my ranking is going to drop. I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself, instead of actually understanding that I played this sport because I was enjoying competing, enjoying being there. And when immediately when that switch happened in the mind, the following week I won my first match. So it clearly shows how much the mind plays a part in this journey. And I really feel that mindset of mine is what has brought me and taken me to where I am today. I did that strength, being able to remain positive, always finding a way to persevere, to constantly find new different styles of training. Back in 2019, I got to know I had no cartilages on my knees. It was fully worn out. When I got to the pandemic time, after I'd done a couple of PRP injections, my doctor told me not only the injections, but you need to strengthen a lot. And my cousin sister of mine was teaching yoga, and I was talking to her, and she said yoga will help, but specifically Iyengar yoga would help. So I found out a place right next to my house, an Iyengar yoga place, which, at the age of obviously 40, you're not really trying to explore a new opportunity. But I said, you know what, this is my condition. I need something maybe different. So let me give it a shot. And I went in with an open mind, and it has really, made a difference. And I think that is what has kept me in this journey, in terms of being able to adapt to new things, being able to constantly persevere, constantly believing in a product which is going to make a difference. Invest in myself in order to have a physio constantly traveling with me. Because even some days I feel if the coaches are not traveling, it's still fine, but I need the physio to travel with me, because I always have said that you may have the best coach in the world, but if you're not recovered well, even he can't help you on the next day. So it is extremely important to focus on that journey of recovery. And this is something which I changed over the years. So I do very specific kind of training, which is, works for me. And I do a lot of work on recovery. My ice bath is my go-to recovery. I'll absolutely have a great love-hate relationship to it. But yeah, I know how effective and good it is for my body. So I always, end up taking an ice bath, whether it is a practice day. Some days I don't have practice. Also, I just do some mobility, but I still, take that ice bath and then get a, full massage for my physio. And that is what has helped the mind also feel recovered and feel positive and ready to compete the next day.
Yeah. I've heard Adam Gilchrist, one of my favorite cricketers, talk about how he had a low and he was not hitting the ball, and he suddenly went back to his childhood coach, and and the coach told him, just remember why you started playing the sport, and you started playing the sport because it was fun, and that sort of mindset immensely helped him do like a second innings, and eventually won the man of the
That's
match
amazing. Yeah.
award. Yeah,
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 it is truly amazing that when your mind is happy,
right.
everything around you gets better.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Rohan, it was fantastic chatting with you. But before we end, I want to end this with a little fun section. So, a very quick rapid fire, not a
Yeah,
lot of
absolutely.
questions.
Thanks, brother. Thank you so much for having me. It was pleasure chatting with you.
Yeah, so let's wrap this up with a quick rapid fire. Um, so, here we go. So, as a one handed backhander yourself, who do you believe on the tour has the most elegant one handed backhand?
Current players
Yeah, current or
or
recently retired.
former players?
Yeah, current, recently retired. Yeah.
Uh, I would say Stanislas Wawrinka currently for sure.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites too. And to your point about Chennai Open and Maharashtra Open, I got to know of Stan because of how many times he came to Pune and Chennai, and all.
To be honest, I don't know if you know this, but I was hoping he did not come to Chennai more often because I think the few times he came there, the both times I played main draw there, I ended up playing against him. I was
And he
hoping that
won
he
it
didn't come.
5 times. I don't know, like 5 6 times
Yeah,
probably.
he loved coming to Chennai, especially. Yeah.
Yeah, a brutal weather to play in, but yeah, he is definitely one of my favorite players. Okay, moving on to the next one. Who is the funniest player in the locker room?
Oh, there are so many lovely characters. Depends on what day, where the season or what kind of day it is. Yeah, but especially these youngsters. When I watch today, they are pretty fun to be around. Sometimes Francis Tiafo, I think, is someone who can be extremely funny and a great character to be around.
Okay, best organized tournament, both Grand Slam and non-Grand Slam, that you really look forward to.
The Grand Slam, I would say the Australian Open. I think it is by far one of the best organized and very player friendly. And in terms of a few other events, Indian Wells, I think, is one of the top Master Series events which are super well organized.
Hmm, great. One sport other than tennis that you really enjoy watching, and one player of that sport or any other sport that you really enjoy watching.
I mean, coming from India, I love watching cricket. I'm a big, cricket fan. I followed, cricket for over the years, and I was extremely happy we won the World Cup. It was, I think, amazing. Yeah, so anytime I watch these cricketers, it's beautiful to see them play.
And one player you particularly love watching?
Current players,
Hmm, yeah.
I love watching Virat. I think
Mhm.
he's just explosive. He brings out a lot of energy out there, and he's fun to watch.
Okay, great. So I recently watched a video of Brazilian football legend Ronaldo, and he hit the ball really smoothly. Have you played with a non-tennis sports star and found them to be really good at it? If so, who?
Uh, well, actually, I haven't really, played,
Hmm.
so much with, but I do know that whenever I talk to badminton player Ashwini Ponnappa, she says she's, pretty good at tennis. So, I was telling her hopefully one day we can, play some tennis. And I saw a video of Mahendra Singh Dhoni also playing some tennis. So maybe we get to, play against him one day also, and it'll be fun.
Yeah, great. Well, no tennis discussion is complete without a discussion on the big three. So one quality each of Federer, Nadal, and Novak that you really, really like.
I mean, I loved Federer. Among the three, Federer was my one of my favorite, players to watch. And of course, I got to play against him also back in 2006 in Halle. And the other obvious thing was the single-handed backhand, which made him just look flawless. I mean, what he brought to on and off the court. Brought me memories of Stefan Edberg. He was my role model. Stefan Edberg, my big idol when I was growing up. So he was similar like that. And I think Rafa Nadal is just a wonderful, wonderful human being. I've met him over the years for many times. He's just a warm-hearted person, like the other guys, but he's just pure. Speaks from the heart, and I think that made him super special. And Novak is just, I think, incredible athlete. I think one of the best athletes in the world. No question of what he has brought, to the game, and the way he has grown as a tennis player, and the journey he has been through. To read about his stories and to watch him play, I think is just phenomenal. And what he's trying to do to the sport and help a lot of the other players and athletes, I think is really, really credible. And I think all these three guys are, the best, tennis players of the world, but they're so different from each other. I think which really what sets them apart. And I'm just glad that I was still, part of that journey, watching them, win all these major events, and also sharing the locker rooms with them. I mean, can't beat that. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, it was incredible to learn about how Novak absolutely transformed his diet because of some gluten allergy, and then he became this um, beast of a player that he is. And that one-handed backhand of Federer and Edberg that you spoke about, just reminded me of the 17 and 18 Australian Open with this incredible backhand of Federer's. Um, Rohan,
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that you gave me the time to talk to you. I know you are in the middle of a tournament in Hamburg, but what great insights! It was just an honor talking to you. Really,
Thank you so much, Bala. Thanks so much for having me, and pleasure talking to you.
thank you.
Take care.